Hey, what's up, gamers? This is your dark, cold, and calm gamer, Darfrost Kelmer, and today's video we are going to be ranking one of the killers in Financial Center on Criminal Case. We're going to be ranking them mostly based on their murder weapon, and we're also going to be pinpointing it out if it would be easy to acquire that weapon in real life, and we will also try to analyze the reason for why they did it, Okay, another one. What else needs to be done? I think that's pretty much it. Before we get to start ranking these video, if you love me doing well, criminal case videos, if you want to see more, click that like, hit that subscribe button, and click that notification below. And yeah, let's start this ranking these criminals. We're going to be starting on chronological order, by the way. So before I get to reveal who these killers are, I'm going to be mentioning the case number and the title of the case. Okay, so let's begin. Case number 12, Blood on the Training Floor. The victim was Samuel Ray, and the murder weapon was the samurai sword. Pretty fancy, if you ask me, get to kill the victim. Upon Chief King's orders, Jones and the player collected the body of a stock trader, Samuel Ray, who was found hung up in the stock exchange and emptied of his insides. Oh yeah, a quick note: I am reading one of the notes that I had gathered from Criminal Case Wiki. So if you're a fan of reading some quick facts or notes about video games or even anime, it's literally in there. Link in the description, but that link will only be involved in a criminal case. But you can also use um, Wiki as pretty much to any of your favorite shows that you watch or anime. But yeah, let's move on. Okay, they were informed by Chief King about CEO Alden Green wanting the case solved as soon as possible, prompting them to question him. They then spoke to casino worker Kate Murphy after she broke into Gecko Street station. Kate admitting that she was selling barbiturates to the stock traders after thorough investigation. The killer turned out to be stock trader Harry Crane. Hold on, let me. Oh, hold on. Let me put the music background on loop. I'm very sorry if the music kind of stops. Okay, Harry revealed that Alden needed a new stock trader, and so he wanted to hire Samuel. Harry did not like it when Samuel kept on bragging about his deal with Alden, and as a result, he got very jealous. He then disemboweled Samuel with a samurai sword, and then hung the victim up in the stock exchange. Judge Hall then sentenced Harry to life imprisonment with no chance for parole for the brutal murder. Okay, first of all, the weapon. Is it easy to acquire by an ordinary person, or if by some chance, like by Harry Crane, his experience, he saw a samurai sword. I think it was a stock exchange. Yeah, yep. Sort of know. Yep, in the stock exchange area. I would say I don't think an ordinary person would be able to acquire something like a sword, samurai, or a samurai sword, excuse me. But even if they did, they should probably have, I don't know, the strength at least to be able to use one, because looking at it, it seems to be, I don't think someone who has at least, mm, let's say, like fair amount of workout training, like in the gym. So I don't think an ordinary person would be able to wield the samurai sword, even if they get to hold one. So I'm going to be ranking this an A tier. Um, well, considering the circumstances that he was being emotional, I'm going to give that a minus. So I'm just probably going to give him on the B rank because he was being rationally emotional. So yeah, that's my claim on why I think he should be on the B rank. Okay, rating this case on 1 to 10 if it were to play out in real life. Mm, mm, it's really difficult to say that. Well, considering the fact that the killer did had some jealousy on Samuel Ray, I would say this specific case would most likely happen 2 out of 10 if it's the exact same scenario, the weapon, and the way the body was found. I would say 2 out of 10, so it's like the 80% chance that it will not likely happen. But yeah, that is just my my opinion. All right, let's move on to the next case. Oh yeah, keep in mind that I'm trying my best to keep this a little bit faster, other than the first district, which is the industrial area, where we get to explain everything on some noted. But for this district, I'll try to get onto the real stuff. Okay, case number 13, uh, bomb alert on Grimsburg. Uh, this is probably the first case that I have ever encountered, or the player would ever encounter. For those of you who still love playing this game, would be able to encounter a killer would using a bomb. Yeah, that's right. The weapon is literally a freaking bomb. So um, I gotta say though, it's pretty impressive and dangerous as well. So yeah. Okay, let's read the plot story. Um, Jones and the player went to the park to have their lunch before they suddenly then heard an explosion at the other side of the park. They want They went there to discover the body of Henry Crosby, who was found dead with his body heavily damaged, believing the bombing was planned. They started an investigation. Ramirez then informed the investigators of an anonymous phone call about an imminent bomb attack on Main Street, which prompted them to find a faulty bomb planted by the killer. They then discovered the victim's son, Sean Crosby, who had been taken into custody due to his violent episodes, had escaped from their watch. The killer turned out to be the victim's old friend and war veteran, Donald Byrd. That's the killer's name, Donald Byrd. Upon confronting him, Donald had managed to slip out of the police sight before carrying out a suicide bombing in Cooper Park. Although he never made a confession, Donald may have killed Henry for testifying against him after he was charged with war crimes and then admitted to an institute for the criminally insane per reporter. Rachel Priest findings. Okay, so the killer was Don Byrd, and I gotta say it's like straight away, like this killer is A tier, like insanely dangerous because um, He also have some hearing difficulties that was presented in his profile, and he had some military experience, as you can see on his um, profile pic that I just put him in the A tier list. And yeah, as for the reason, let me like the reason why Donald killed Henry was because Henry was testifying against him after he was charged with war crimes, so that kind of like pissed him off. So yeah, and that's pretty much it. Um, Scaling this to 1 to 10, if there were an ex-military and then they would go insane and I don't know, try to kill someone. I don't know. Mm, I'm thinking really, like, really a very broader perspective here. I would say 1 out of 10 chance that it would happen. I'm not saying it will not happen, but the chances that would happen is 1 out of 10 is because you gotta have some insane knowledge of how to uh, make a bomb or even how to defuse a bomb. So yeah, that's that's actually the even more reason why I put Donald Byrd in the A tier list, because he's an ex-military. So yeah, I guess he deserves it. So but of course, yeah, he killed himself, which I know it's not great, but if he did not, then he would be arrested. But unfortunately, this was actually the first case that I had ever encountered, or the first case that the player would ever encountered about a killer's suicide. Wow, this is insane. Okay, moving on to the next case, which is case number 14, titled Fashion Victim Murder Weapon is a Freaking Metal Hanger. Now, if you had clicked on the link on the description of this video, which is the criminal case wiki that I had gathered on the informations of the killers, you might see that the murder weapon says hanger, but I don't think which it was. The hanger was used on the victim to like pierce its throat, but in order to do that, you gotta use like a bendable metal hanger. I don't think a plastic hanger would be able to kill someone. But yeah, that just to clarify. Okay, I'm gonna be reading the quick plot story. After a murder was reported in the shopping mall, the player and Jones went there to discover the body of fashion store owner Lucy Campbell, strangled with a hanger and impaled on a mannequin stand. The detectives had to deal with solving the case with clashing testimonies from bar owner Nina Hunt and sales representative Joey Manzano about the victim's last hours before her death, with Ramirez and mall security guard Biff Wellington's assistants. In the investigation, the detectives arrested mall cleaner Odell Tooley for the gruesome murder. Odell then admitted that he killed Lucy with the intention of getting caught so that everyone would remember him forever. Since Odell was just a mall cleaner working for the mall, no one gave him as much credit as he wanted them to, so he wanted to change it by doing something unthinkable, which prompted Judge Hall to sentence Odell to 20 years in jail for the premeditated murder. Okay, first of all, this killer is like seeking for attention. Not only that, but his murder weapon is a freaking metal hanger? Holy crack. Who would have thought of that? Like, damn. The victim was Lucy Campbell, by the way, if you did not heard on who the victim is while I was, reading the plot story. But anyways, I'm going to give this, I'm going to rank Orbital Thule on the D rank tier list. Because, like, first of all, like, the reason was kind of like, because, I have dealt with, I think so. Wait, did I ever dealt with criminals in industrial area? But, whatever, even if I did not dealt with criminals who did not get attention for whatever reason, or I don't know, when they were growing up, they probably had an issue with their parents. But yeah, that is just my theory. Um, the reason why I put him on the D tier list was it's a very low, reasonable, kind of like, or like a point of view to kill someone. It's so low that it's insane. It's like I can understand like the jealousy and of course like the hate and all that stuff, but getting attention, like wow, damn, that could be so low. But yeah, um, scaling this one through 10, if this would play out in the real life scenario, I would be scaling it to. Oh yeah, shucks. One more thing, and the reason why I put him on the D rank is because the murder weapon is a metal hanger. This is something that is probably easy to acquire, and you literally use it every day, every single day. You use hanger to hang up on your clothes. But a murder weapon? Oh damn, that's next level. Holy crack! But yeah, that's the reason why. That is one of the reasons why I put him on the D rank tier list. Um, I would say 6 out of 10 for the murder weapon, but considering the fact his reason on why he did it, yeah, it's not even come to close on like 100% chance on happening, but maybe it will. It's just a very low percentage chance. So yeah. That's the D rank. Okay, let's move on to the next case. Oh my gosh, we are moving so fast. Way faster than I did on industrial area. That's what she said. Okay, case number 15. Title Family Blood. The murder weapon is a baseball bat. The victim is Aileen Green. So let's see why she was murdered. After Chief King reported that Alden Green's daughter-in-law, Aileen Green, was found beaten to death with a baseball bat and tied up to her son Oliver's crib, the detectives started the investigation. They eventually discovered, well, Alden's private investigation, that Aileen had an ex-husband, Tom Hunt, who she had divorced before she came to Grimsboro to reinvent herself after previous larceny charges. They then discovered that Aileen was looked down by the Green family, which prompted her to break ties with her ex-husband, who she had saw for a while after he followed her to the city. Despite the delicate case, the detectives incriminated Aileen's stepson, Scott Green, for the murder, so they arrested him. Scott felt that Aileen was a horrible stepmother, being abusive to both him and his stepbrother Oliver and stealing money from the family for Tom Hunt. Her ex-husband was when Scott asked for his baseball card back, Aileen ripped it to pieces. Poor choice. It was a sentimental and super rare card, wow, worth thousands of dollars. that was given to him by his grandfather. Well, that probably gave him enough rage to kill Halen Green. Alden, grandfather Alden. Scott could not bear it and killed Halen with a baseball bat and tied her up next to Oliver's crib due to the severity of the crime. When Scott was arrested, he was tried as an adult, which explains why Judge Hall sentenced him to 20 years in jail. Okay, let's discuss the murder weapon real quick, which is a baseball bat. Is it easy to acquire? No, you gotta have some skills, unless you gotta have some skills on doing baseball bat. Why would you buy? Well, technically, other than using it to beat an intruder if there was an intruder to your house. But I think if I was about to buy something like a baseball bat, I would probably practice it with like an actual baseball gameplay, like training, not like a real baseball tournament or whatsoever, but kind of like a baseball practice. If I were to buy a baseball bat, but yeah, or if you're a fan, then that makes sense, I guess. As far as the reason why they did it is because you know his baseball super rare card was ripped in half. When he could just piece it back together, but unfortunately he could not bear it and used the baseball bat and killed his stepmother. And I'm going to say that it's going to be the second lowest to Odell Tully, which is his reason was the attention because he was not credited for being a janitor and on cleaning the on the fashion mall or whatever. But yeah, it's a low tier reason to have that reason to kill someone. But considering the fact that he has a baseball bat, it kind of ties in together. So, yeah, let's move on to the next case. Oh yeah, before we do, I'm going to be rating it 1 to 10. Let's see. My gosh. I would say 5 out of 10. Yeah, 5 out of 10. 50-50 chance that it could happen because though he freaking ripped something special to the killer, and then the killer killed that victim. Poor choice. Okay, let's move on to the case number 16. Case title is The Kiss of Death. Murder weapon was defenestration, which is meaning they were thrown to the window. Okay, let's read the plot story real quick. The player and Jones were hanging out at the Walton Square entrance when they witnessed a woman fall out of a window of a tower building. After confirming that young woman Emma Turner was pushed to her death, they started the investigation. In the investigation, they found out Emma worked as an informant for CCN journalist Rachel Priest, but also worked as an upscale escort for Rosalina Davidoff. They also found out the reason why Emma worked 2 jobs was to help Rachel infiltrate Green Holdings by working as a call girl, even at the expense of poor treatment from Rosalina and old lady Josie Pickett. The detectives then finally closed the case by arresting the plastic surgeon Roger Dents for the murder. Roger admitted that he killed Emma to avoid a malpractice suit due to a botched operation he performed on her. He knew of her work as Rachel's informant, so he tried to portray it as the reason for her death to avoid suspicion. Nevertheless, for his crime, treachery, and lack of remorse for the victim, Roger was sentenced to life in prison by Judge Hall. And yeah, that's the reason why you should probably just, I don't know, just take care of your skin. Don't be too obsessed about beauty and just, oh, I want the face surgery to be done on my face, unless, I don't know, with special circumstances, I guess. But yeah, defenestration has never come up into my mind. There is knife, there is gun, there's a golf bat. Holy crap! You can even make the most simplest item as a freaking weapon. And defenestration. I'm gonna give this a B tier since like he's an adult, and second of all, he could have at least controlled, or maybe he could have at least rethink on what he was about to do. So he could have at least like stopped himself from committing this murder. So yeah, that's the reason why I put him in the B tier. Okay, let's rate it 1 to 10. I don't think this would ever be happening on. So if this were about to happen in real life, it would be ridiculous. I'm going to say 1.5 out of 10 that it would most likely happen. But yeah, crazy reason and kind of like short and simple if you ask me. Let's move on to. Hold on. I'm just making sure. Okay. Okay, let's move on to case number 17. The Last Supper murder weapon was a poison. Ah, here we go. Here's a classic murder weapon. Okay. Chief King sent the player Jones and Nathan to a young woman. Oh, hold on. Did I read the case? I'm gonna read it again just to be sure. Case number 17, The Last Supper, murder weapon, poison, and the victim was Daisy Thompson. Chief King sent the player Jones and Nathan to a young woman, Daisy Thompson's house after hearing that she was poisoned in her kitchen. After Nathan confirmed that her poisoning would cause no threat, the player and Jones opened a murder investigation. With Nathan's assistance, they discovered that the poison was delayed, which would then eventually kill her despite her feeling unwell. Per hot dog. Stand owner Alfred Ziegler, which is the place that she ate a hot dog, was a hot dog stand owner was Alfred Ziegler. They then discovered that the victim's husband, Gabriel Thompson, would have received $1 million from her insurance contract upon her death. In the end, the killer turned out to be the owner of a local restaurant, Valentine Montgomery. Ooh, boy, okay. Here's the crazy story on why I think she did not intend to kill Daisy Thompson. Why Valentine Montgomery did not intend to kill Daisy Thompson. Okay, here we go. Valentine admitted that she poisoned Daisy by accident when the victim was having dinner with her husband. The previous night at Chez Valentine, Valentine had intended to poison Tobias Sharp, but the waiter unintentionally delivered the plate to the wrong table, poisoning Daisy and ultimately killing her. Now, if you don't know who Tobias Sharp is, if this is like the first time you're hearing his name because you don't play the game or you don't even watch the series of Criminal Case from whichever YouTube channel. Tobias Sharp is a food critic uh, and Valentine has grown somewhat of a hatred against him because he's a freaking food critic for whatever reason. for whatever reason, he kind of like criticized the food or like the restaurant of Valentin Montgomery, which of course pissed him off, and she planned to kill him with a poisoned food. But unfortunately, the waitress, put the poisoned food in the wrong table, which killed Daisy Thompson. So yeah, although the murder was an accident, Judge Hall decided thus a murder was a murder and that crime was grounds for a 10-year jail sentence without parole. A very classic kill, which of course, but at the same time, she was kind of like, oh, I wanted to murder this guy. I didn't want to murder that person. Like, kind of like a very, I don't know, a very low tactic, uh, proper way to kill someone, if you ask me. But that's this is just opinion based on the game. I'm going to be ranking this. Actually, I'm gonna rank her on the first tier list of C, second to Scott Green. Yeah, Scott Green. Okay, rating this 1 to 10. Food poisoning is actually, I don't know, somewhat common, even through really 6 out of 10. Yeah, 6 out of 10. Definitely. Okay, let's move on to the next case. Case number 18. Case number 18, In the Dead of the Night. This one is a very sad story. The murder weapon was a crossbow, and the victim was Freddie Stewart. I was expecting Freddy Krueger, but Freddie Stewart. Alright. After the police received a call about a murder during their night shift, Jones and the player then found high schooler Freddie Stewart dead with an arrow through his skull in the middle of Cooper Park. They then questioned the victim's friend and middle schooler Julian Remez, who had found Freddie dead. They then discovered that Freddie possessed the stolen cufflinks of Alden Green before they then spoke to Julian's father, Edward Remez, and Green's head of security, Noah Richards, about the murder and robbery. Despite Edward falsely confessing to the murder, the killer turned out to be Julian himself. Julian then admitted that shortly after the duo had stolen a crossbow from the Green Mansion. The two were out in Cooper Park when Freddie handed over the crossbow to Julian. Before they could realize it was older and rustier than they thought, the arrow went off on its own and through Freddie's left eye, which killed him instantly. Julian was then sentenced to 1 year in a juvenile detention center by Judge Hall for the accidental murder. Wow, that was like insanely like it was an accidental murder. Holy crap, dude! This kid is probably like hold on, let me see the this kid is age 12 years old. Holy crack. Wow, that's insane. 12 years old. Damn. Okay, yeah. A crossbow, they stole it. Oh my god, this is going to be a killer that's going to be really difficult to rate it and which tier would it belong to. Not because it was an accidental death, but this is a kid we're talking about. This is not like a suspect. Well, technically he is, but at the same time, he's a kid. He's at 12 years old. Like, what the frick? If I look back at it, I would have probably like, no, there's no way I could not address this child, but you know, it was just way different back then. But anyway, ah, my gosh, this was an accidental death, and he had no reason. He had literally no reason why he would kill like I'm going to give this like um hmm shucks, this is so hard. I'm going to give this one a B tier. Um, second to Harry Crane, and no. He's gonna be, yeah, third on the third of the B tier list, because he could have like he had Julian had two choices if he would like rethink this twice. You know, when of course Freddie Stewart invited him to go with on the Alden Green Mansion. One, he could have like, hey bro, like let's not do this. It's too risky. We're talking about the Alden Green Mansion here. We can't just bust into someone's house. Like that's no way. That's like, wow, that's insane. And second of all, he could not go with him. Okay, bro, I'm not going with you. You go, but uh, do not get me involved in this. So yeah, that's why I put him on the third list of the B tier list. So yeah, let's move on to um, case number 19. Innocence lost. Murder weapon was a concrete mixer. Wow, case number 18 is such a sad sight. Okay, let's read the plot story real quick because it's about to be 1 hour. Chief King sent the player and Jones to collect the body of young woman Gail Hardy, who was found encased in solid concrete in a construction site. Mid-investigation, the chief informed them that Green Holdings executive Philip Rockwell had wanted to speak to them before the team found out that Gail worked as a personal intern for CC and reporter Rachel Priest. They also discovered that Gail had gotten drunk and overdosed with venture capitalist Derek Molina and his business partner Irenia Phelps. As well, the stolen company car the killer had used to drive away after the murder. In the end, Irina was incriminated as the killer. Irina then admitted that she was drunk when she found Gail unconscious because of an overdose. In the construction site, she thought that Gail was dead and encased the victim in solid concrete so that the body could not be found, as she thought that Gail's death would give Derek's company a bad image due to her connections. She did not want to jeopardize Derek's company, which the two of them had built with a lot of hard work. For the voluntary manslaughter of Gail Harding, Irina was sentenced to 10 years in prison by Judge Hall. Okay, I gotta say that this killer had used a freaking concrete mixer. Like, wow, you're not even like a construction worker, and and you had like that instinct to figure it out on how to use it to kill somebody. That's like insane. Holy crap, that's like next level. It's like a very, and when you look at it, a concrete mixer, it seems simple, but when you see it in action on how to operate it, it seems very complicated. Uh, this is why I'm gonna put Irina helps on uh, the first level of A tier against Donald Byrd, because we're talking about a concrete mixer here. We're not talking about a bomb. We're talking about concrete mixer. This is something you could possibly come across with as an adult, and if you had the opportunity to use it, then heck, why not? It was like, okay. And so yeah, that's why I put her on the um on the first level of A tier. But yeah, against Donald Byrd, which makes him the second, because it's a very high tier level skill if you wanted to make a bomb. But a concrete mixer, damn, that's next level. But yeah. Okay, let's move on to one of the last two cases, because I only had like 20 minutes left, and the next the last case is going to be a long one. But first, we gotta go with case number 20. A deadly game murder weapon was an Iron Maiden. Holy shoo! Oh my god, this is an ancient weapon, or historical weapon, which it was used back in the days. The victim was Steve Wood. After the police received a finger in the mail with a note telling them to investigate further at a homeless camp, which of course they would be very pissed off if this was to happen in real life. They then collected two more fingers and identified their victim as homeless man Steve Wood. Oh my goodness. Did I rate it 1 to 10? I don't think so. Oh yeah, I did. Number 17, 7 out of 10, right? Or I don't know. The Dead of the Night crossbow, it's 5 out of 10. Innocence Loss, I would say 4 out of 10. My bad, guys, if I didn't. I just kind of like got excited there a little bit, but I hope I will get better in making these tier list videos on criminal case per district. But anyway, a deadly game, case number 20. Murder weapon was Iron Maiden. Okay, after the police received a finger in the mail with a note telling them to investigate further at a homeless camp, they then collected two more fingers and identified their victim as as homeless man Steve Wood after beginning their investigation. I did not intend to burp. My apologies. Mid investigation, they questioned the residents of a loft. The killer had sent them to Vaisal Harper McAllister and her brother Tyler McAllister before they discovered the victim's fourth finger and an Iron Maiden, which Nathan confirmed was the murder weapon. After the detectives recovered the final finger and the victim's body, they then incriminated Tyler as the sadistic killer. Tyler then admitted that he wanted to kill someone. He knew that Steve lived in a homeless camp in Cooperville, and that he had secretly got out of prison, and therefore Tyler took full advantage of it. He told Steve that he would help him to get back on his feet. The two met, and Tyler took Steve to a creepy basement where he tortured the victim, cut off his fingers, ripped out and ate his liver. Ew, yuck, gross. And finally killed him using an Iron Maiden, an old torture instrument. Like I said, it is an old torture instrument back in time. He then spread the fingers in different locations in a game with the police. Holy crack knuckles. Tyler's manner of manslaughter horrified Grimsburg anew, and Judge Hall sentenced him to life imprisonment with no chance for parole. Holy crack. Oh my god. I'm so glad that you did put him in life imprisonment. Okay. Like, first of all, I'm going to be straight with this one. It's going to be an S tier, okay? Because not only he did use an old um, torture device instrument, but that old torture instrument is used to kill. Like, if you analyze it closely in the back of your mind, Iron Maiden is like, you put the victim or the target or the subject or whatever, and then once the victim is in there, he, you know, closes it. But the worst thing is, before he did that, he cut off his fine. I think it was 5 fingers. So like, holy crack! Let me. Yeah, he did cut off 5 fingers. Like, damn. This is basically an insane killer. He wanted a freaking game with the police, and he knew that Steve Woods would be the perfect candidate because he's a homeless person. Nobody would pay attention to a homeless person if they came missing. Like, wow, if you think about it, if I would rate this 1 out of 10, if this would play out in the real life scenario, I would say a 10 out of 10. It's a 10 out of 10 because you don't know what happens the next day to a person's life. Like, heck, anything could happen in 1 week. Like, there's a lot could happen in 1 week, in 1 month, half the year. It's like, even in 1 year, there's a lot could happen in 1 year. So I would say it's a 10 out of 10 that this probably most likely happen all the time. Not just kids who gets missing, but also consider also the homeless people as well. You'll never know when you get to see. You'll never know if you get to see a homeless person. Maybe a week or 3 weeks later, they're dead, or maybe they're probably missing. So yeah. Okay, let's move on to the very and final case, which is um, case number 21, the secret experiments. Murder weapon was a syringe. It was not just an ordinary syringe. It was a super soldier serum. Now, before I get to read the story and the plot of this case, I'm gonna put Alden Green, which he is the killer of this case, to the very top, which is the first tier of S tier. And then once I'm done telling the story, I think the story itself would tell you why I put him on the S tier rank, and I don't think I would have anything to explain any further on why based on the story. Okay, let's do this. After former Cameron of CCN reporter Rachel Priest Carl Ackerman reported to the police that Rachel had gone missing, the team then went to Grim News headquarters and found her journal that said she was heading to an abandoned warehouse. After they reached there, they saw a trapdoor which led to an underground experiment lab. There they found a skeleton melted in a vat of acid and a smashed skull, which helped the police identify Rachel as the victim. Oh, keep in mind that I'm going to be reading a little bit faster because this story is like a lot to digest in. So you might, I don't know, press the speed button, like, I don't know, just 0.75 slower. But yeah, that's just my suggestion. They then discovered that Rachel had sent them a video message days before her death, which prompted them to speak to Alden Green, who the victim happened to be investigating. They then discovered that Rachel had uncovered that Army General James Marsh was secretly developing a super soldier serum, which promoted excessive bone growth and turned men into war machines. Though once the Army learned of his dangerous human test trials, they ordered James to stop. However, the general continued the project with funding from Green Pharma Corp, which was also found to be created by scientist Kelly Speltz. They then learned that Green Holdings was about to sign their biggest contract ever, which was suspected to be said serum. After collecting enough evidence, the team incriminated Alden as Rachel's killer, but there's something more to this. You gotta be paying attention. When Alden was confronted, he explained to Jones and the player that Rachel had come to their secret lab unaware they were waiting for her, implicating James' involvement in the murder. The tycoon admitted she was correct about the serum, which would have made him the most powerful man in Grimsborough, and that he could not allow her to expose his plan. General Marsh ordered the inquisitive journalist's death, and Alden complied by injecting her with the super serum, knowing it was only made for men. Rachel's skin was torn apart from the resulting bone growth, and she soon perished afterwards. Alden and James placed her corpse in a vat of acid to hide the truth from the authorities. As a result of Alden's testimony, James was also arrested, and both men were taken to court, where Judge Hall sentenced both of them to life imprisonment. Holy shracks! We're talking about a double arrest for this case. I should have included his profile picture as well, but General James Marsh was also the one who kind of like told or commanded Alden Green for his murder, but yeah. Scaling it 1 to 10, this one is a very sensitive like case. Uh, Based on reality, I think if this would play out in reality, I think it would definitely, I would say 9 out of 10, or maybe 10 out of 10. Yeah, that's my take. It's a double rate. So yeah, scale out of 1, 9 out of 10, or 10 out of 10. But yeah, I hope you enjoy this financial center on ranking these killers on financial center, and I hope you enjoy this criminal case tier list video. And if you enjoy this video, please leave. I would appreciate it if you leave a like, comment, and a share. And if you wanna see me do more these tier lists, would appreciate it if you would subscribe. It definitely means a lot to me. So yeah, peace out, cold, dark, and calm gamers. See you out.